Hello, everyone. Today we're going to read you a story called Positively Pooh Book, Timeless Wisdom from Pooh. It was narrated by Ernest H. Shepard.
All right. For someone special with hums from a dear friend. Positively Pooh, Timeless Wisdom from Pooh.
Oh, there's 4 chapters. We
Right.
could read them 4.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll read 2 today and 2 tomorrow, okay? We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know how long they are, hon. Chapter 1, For Your Inner Bear. Roo was washing his face and paws in the stream, while Kanga explained to everybody proudly that this was the first time he had ever washed his face himself. An owl was telling Kanga an interesting anecdote full of long words like encyclopedia and rhododendron, to which Kanga was not listening. I don't hold with all this washing, grumbled Eeyore. This modern, behind-the-ears nonsense. What do you think, Pooh? When did you last have a thorough checkup? Let's have a look at you, said Pooh. So Eeyore stood there gazing sadly at the ground. And Winnie the Pooh walked all round him once. Why, what's happened to your tail? He said in surprise. What has happened to it? Said Eeyore. It isn't there. Are you sure? Well, either a tail is there or it isn't there. You can't make a mistake about it, and yours isn't there. Then what is? Nothing. Find a type of exercise to suit you. Balancing on 3 legs, he began to bring his 4th leg very cautiously up to his ear. I did this yesterday, he explained, as he fell down for the 3rd time. It's quite easy. Don't try too hard. Let the hums get you. Poetry and hums aren't things which you get. They're things which get you, and all you can do is to go where they find you. Stop to pass the time of day. I make it 17 days come Friday since anybody spoke to me. It certainly isn't 17 days. Come Friday, explained Eeyore. And today's Saturday, said Rabbit. So that would make it 11 days. And I was here myself a week ago. Not conversing, said Eeyore. Not first one and then the other. You said hello and flashed past. I saw your tail in the distance as I was meditating my reply. I have thought of saying, what? But of course it was then too late. Well, I was in a hurry. Think about all the exciting things that are going to happen today, particularly on Monday mornings. When you wake up in the morning, Pooh, said Piglet at last, what's the first thing you say to yourself? What's for breakfast? Said Pooh. What do you say, Piglet? I say, I wonder what's going to happen exciting today, said Piglet. Pooh nodded thoughtfully. It's the same thing, he said. Always have a plan B. What do I look like? You look like a bear holding on to a balloon, you said. Not, said Pooh anxiously, not like a small black cloud in a blue sky. Not very much. Ah, well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And as I say, you can never tell with bees. reduce headaches. Here's Edward Bear coming downstairs now, bump, bump, bump on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs. But sometimes he feels that there really is another way. If only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Find another way. Be positive about meeting new people. "Hello, Eeyore," said Pooh. "This is Tigger." "What is?" said Eeyore. "This," explained Pooh and Piglet together, and Tigger smiled his happiest smile and said nothing. Eeyore walked all round Tigger one way and then turned and walked all round him the other way. "What did you say it was?" he asked. "Tigger." "Ah," said Eeyore. "He's just come," explained Piglet. "Ah," said Eeyore again. He thought for a long time and then said, "When is he going?" Try singing to warm your soul. They were out of the snow now, but it was very cold. And to keep themselves warm, they sang Pooh's song right through 6 times. Piglet doing the tiddly palms and Pooh doing the rest of it. And both of them thumping on the top of the gate with pieces of stick at the proper places. And in a little while, they felt much warmer and were able to talk again. Everything in moderation. Pooh always liked a little something at 11 o'clock in the morning, and he was very glad to see Rabbit getting out the plates and mugs. And when Rabbit said, "Honey or condensed milk with your bread?" he was so excited that he said, "Both." And then, so as not to seem greedy, he added, "But don't bother about the bread, please." It all comes, I suppose, he decided, as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times, and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. It all comes of liking honey so much. Oh, help! He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. You can have too much of a good thing. Modesty is the best policy. But Pooh's mind had gone back to the day when he had saved Piglet from the flood, and everybody had admired him so much. And as that didn't often happen, he thought he would like it to happen again. And suddenly, just as it had come before, an idea came to him. "Owl," said Pooh, "I have thought of something." "Astute and helpful bear," said Owl. Pooh looked proud at being called a stout and helpful bear, and said modestly that he had just happened to think of it. Learn new things and be inspired. Suddenly, Christopher Robin began to tell Pooh about some of the things. People called kings and queens, and something called factors, and a place called Europe, and an island in the middle of the sea where no ships came, and how you make a suction pump, if you want to, and when knights were knighted, and what comes from Brazil. And Pooh, his back against one of the 60-something trees, and his paws folded in front of him, said, "Oh!" and "I didn't know," and thought how wonderful it would be to have a real brain which could tell you things. And by, Christopher Robin came to an end of things and was silent, and he sat there looking out over the world and wishing it wouldn't stop. Savor every moment. What do you like doing best in the world, Pooh? "Well," said Pooh, "what I like best And then he had to stop and think, because although eating honey was a very good thing to do, there was a moment just before you began to eat it, which was better than when you were, but he didn't know what it was called. This is chapter 2.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll read chapter 2, and we're going to save 3 and 4 for tomorrow.
Okay.
Chapter 2, for those bothersome days. Flowers brighten up even the most bothersome of days. Piglet had got up early that morning to pick himself a bunch of violets, and when he had picked them and put them in a pot in the middle of his house, it suddenly came over him that nobody had ever picked Eeyore a bunch of violets. And the more he thought of this, the more he thought how sad it was to be an animal who had never had a bunch of violets picked for him. So he hurried out again, saying to himself, Eeyore violets, and then violets Eeyore, in case he forgot, because it was that sort of day. Avoid people who will make you miserable.
That's ashamed.
It's bad enough, said Eeyore, almost breaking down, being miserable myself. What with no presents and no cake and no candles and no proper notice taken of me at all. But if everybody else is going to be miserable too, look the part so you'll feel ready for anything. As soon as he saw the big boots, Pooh knew that an adventure was going to happen, and he brushed the honey off his nose with the back of his paw and spruced himself up as well as he could so as to look ready for anything.
Anything.
Those with brain don't always know it all. Owl looked at the notice again. To one of his education, the reading of it was easy. Gone out, back soon. Busy, back soon. Just the sort of thing you'd expect to see on a notice. It is quite clear what has happened, my dear rabbit, he said. Christopher Robert has gone out somewhere with Baxon. He and Baxon are busy together. Have you seen a Baxon anywhere about in the forest lately? Things are often better than they seem. Piglet lay there wondering what had happened. At first he thought that the whole world had blown up, and then he thought that perhaps only the forest part of it had, and then he thought that perhaps only he had, and he was now alone in the moon or somewhere, and would never see Christopher Robin or Pooh or Eeyore again. And then he thought, well, even if I'm in the moon, I needn't be face downwards all the time. So he got cautiously up and looked about him. He was still in the forest. Well, that's funny, he thought. I wonder what that bang was. I couldn't have made such a noise just falling down. And where's my balloon? And what's that small piece of damp rag doing? So what actually happened?
Blano, Mommy.
His balloon popped.
Yeah, Blano. His balloon popped.
Where do you see Blano?
I don't know, maybe from Cat Soul speaking Spanish.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Did I really do all that? Piglet said at last. Well, said Pooh, in poetry, in a piece of poetry, well, you did it, Piglet, because the poetry says you did, and that's how people know. Oh, said Piglet, because I thought I did blinch a little, just at first, and it said, did he blinch? No, that's why. You only blinched inside, said Pooh, and that's the bravest way for a very small animal not to blinch that there is. Piglet sighed with happiness and began to think about himself. He was brave. Sometimes you are wonderful even when you don't know it. No one is perfect. Owl, wise though he was in many ways, able to read and write and spell his own name, Wall, somehow went all to pieces over delicate words like measles and buttered toast. This book is weird.
Yeah.
Eeyore, the old gray donkey, stood by the side of the stream and looked at himself in the water. Pathetic, he said. That's what it is, pathetic. But nobody minds. Nobody cares. Pathetic. That's what it is. There was a cracking noise in the bracken behind him, and out came Pooh. You seem so sad, Eeyore. Sad? Why should I be sad? It's my birthday, the happiest day of the year. Your birthday, said Pooh in great surprise. Stay there, he called to Eeyore as he turned and hurried back home as quick as he could. For he felt that he must get poor Eeyore a present of some sort at once, and he could always think of a proper one afterwards.
A bad day can always improve.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was I going? Ah, yes, Eeyore. He got up slowly, and then suddenly he remembered he had eaten Eeyore's birthday present. Bother, said Pooh. What shall I do? I must give him something. For a little while he couldn't think of anything. Then he thought, well, it's a very nice pot, even if there's no honey in it. And if I washed it clean and got somebody to write a happy birthday on it, Eeyore could keep things in it, which might be useful. You can always remedy an awful mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the last time you enjoyed yourself? That's right, said Eeyore. Sing. Umpty tiddly, umpty too. Here we go gathering nuts in May. Enjoy yourself. I am, said Pooh. Some can, said Eeyore. Bees and trees will calm and soothe. One day, Rabbit and Piglet were sitting outside Pooh's front door listening to Rabbit, and Pooh was sitting with them. It was a drowsy summer afternoon, and the forest was full of gentle sounds, which all seemed to be saying to Pooh, don't listen to Rabbit, listen to me. So he got into a comfortable position for not listening to Rabbit. And from time to time, he opened his eyes to say, ah, and then closed them again. This book is funny.
Yeah.
Maintained some youthful enthusiasm. By the time it came to the edge of the forest, the stream had grown up so that it was almost a river. And being grown up, it did not run and jump and sparkle along as it used to do when it was younger, but moved more slowly. For it knew now where it was going, and it said to itself, there is no hurry, we shall get there someday. But all the little streams higher up in the forest went this way and that, quickly, eagerly, having so much to find out before it was too late. Prioritize on those bothering sorts of days.
Order of looking for things. Number 1, special place to find Piglet. Number 2, Piglet to find who small is. Number 3, small to find small. Number 4, Rabbit to tell him I found small. Number 5, small again to tell him I found Rabbit.
Christopher Robin came down from the forest to the bridge, feeling all sunny and careless, and just as if twice 19 didn't matter a bit. As it didn't on such a happy afternoon, and he thought that if he stood on the bottom rail of the bridge and leaned over and watch the river slipping slowly away beneath him, then he would suddenly know everything that there was to be known, and he would be able to tell Pooh, who wasn't quite sure about some of it. Leave behind the things that do not matter. Look on the bright side. I shouldn't be surprised if it hailed a good deal tomorrow, Eeyore was saying. Blizzards and whatnot. Being fine today doesn't mean anything. It might never happen. Supposing a tree fell down, Pooh, when we were underneath it. Supposing it didn't, said Pooh, after careful thought. Piglet was comforted by this. We'll save this for tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's it. Stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow and please subscribe.